guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your boy DQ back at you again with yet another video. If you are brand new to my channel, do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Hit that notification bell as well. Give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. It gets my video noticed and known by YouTube. It really helps with the algorithm. It helps my video get noticed, so I really appreciate that. So I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I have Australia Monday, Germany Wednesdays, and then Fridays are my freestyle Fridays. So moving to a new country is absolutely terrifying. My journey started in 2014 when I first moved to Germany, and since then I've visited over 20 countries. It is absolutely insane. So this video is actually day one for me moving to Germany. And believe it or not, my first day was actually very overwhelming. I had so much going on. There was just so much to it, and I was just like, I just want this day to end, mainly because I was so tired. I was so excited from the airplane ride over to Germany, so I didn't sleep at all. The jet lag hit and everything, and it was just, oh. So this is actually my story. So let's get it started. So as I mentioned, moving to another country is extremely difficult. It is even more difficult when you're moving by yourself. So that's exactly what I did. I decided to pick up my life and move from the US to Germany. So I guess a little sidebar, I actually moved to Germany for an internship, and I ended up staying after the internship. But my first month was actually in a town called Dusseldorf. And so that's what we're gonna talk about. In sidebar. So after landing in Germany at the Frankfurt Airport, and yes, I know there is an airport in Dusseldorf, but that airport, the flight tickets were I think like $300 or $400 more, and I think I did a little research and I saw that the train tickets were cheaper, and so I was like, you know what? I'm a broke college student. That's exactly what I'm gonna do, is just take the train from Frankfurt to Dusseldorf. So after landing and everything, grabbing my luggage and whatnot, I guess the main problem that first arose was figuring out where I was going. In the US, a lot of the airports don't have a lot of train systems that actually bring you to places. Where I am right now, because of COVID, I'm actually in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our airport here does not have a train system. So what do you have to do? Get a taxi, get an Uber, or call someone that you know. But it's like, what if you don't know anyone? So that's one thing that I actually very appreciated, was that the train station was at the Frankfurt Airport. All I had to do was find my ticket. And I was like, how do I do that? So I ended up finding a help desk at the airport, and they helped me purchase my ticket for the Deutsche Bahn. And then they told me where to go for the actual train. The train itself was actually pretty smooth because it was only one train that I had to take. It did take about 2 hours, but you know, that's all right. Another main culture shock difference that I've noticed was that they actually have people on the trains that will check your tickets. Coming from Boston originally, in order to get on the buses and the trains, you actually have to tap your card. If you don't tap your card, you won't be able to enter the barricade for the train, and the bus driver won't even let you walk past. So it was actually baffling to me that they had people walking around checking tickets and everything to make sure that you actually belong on that actual train, and that you weren't being a what they call in German a Schwarzfahrer. So someone that's riding the train illegally without trying to pay. After getting off of the train in Dusseldorf, I had to figure out where to go yet again. I know I asked the taxi driver, hey, I'm trying to get here, and he just kind of like waved me off and everything. Now, looking back at it, I realized that he was telling me just to go through the train station. And don't get me wrong, when I first got to Germany, I spoke a little bit of German, but it was very basic. And then again, I was super tired from the flight that I just got off of. I was flying all night, you know? And then I was on a 2-hour train ride. I was thirsty, sleep deprived and everything, and it was hot. Germany doesn't have too many hot days, but it was hot. So I'm just sweating, tired, exhausted. My mouth was like caught in and everything. I'm just super, super tired. And me, being a typical American, I'm walking around with 3 suitcases. One thing that I realized, no one offered to help, which was also pretty surprising to me. In the US, people will be like, hey, do you need help? Where do you need to go? And probably point you in a direction. And I know people saw me struggling. this stupid American with 3 suitcases for 1 year in Germany, and everyone just walking past. No one offered to help or said anything. It was like, oh, where do you need to go? Or do you need to catch a train? See if they could help me or if they were going in the same direction, you know? This was irritating. I was so frustrated. And don't get me wrong, no one is obligated to help. No one needs to help me. But it would have been the nice thing to do, especially when you see someone in need. Eventually, I did find a help desk at the train station, and then they actually told me, oh yeah, just go all the way to the other side of the train station, out the doors, and the building that you're looking for is going to be on the right. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I literally had to walk from this side to that side, back to this side, and it was just so much, and I was so frustrated and everything. But you know what? I ended up making my way. So my first month, like I said, was in Dusseldorf, and I was actually there to take a placement test for my job. I was taking a placement test so that way they can see what my level of German was and everything, and what certificate I would actually need as well. I failed this test absolutely. It was horrible. I failed it miserably, mainly because, like I said, super sleep deprived, super tired. I just need some water, and I just want sleep at this point. I'm like, I don't care anything. Why do I have to take a test right now? I just landed. Like, come on now. Like, I don't want to do anything. I just want my bed. Eventually, I was able to leave. And I actually left with my housemate. His name is actually Gabriel. And to this day, we are still friends. I even messaged him while I was doing this video. I'm like, hey, I'm going to be mentioning you in my new video. I haven't seen him since August 2014, but he is still one of my good friends today. I'm still able to reach out to him and talk to him about anything. He knows he's able to reach out to me and talk to me about anything as well. And yeah, we're really good friends, even though we haven't seen each other in 6 years. Luckily, he's Canadian, so we bonded already. And speaking English. He spoke French. My French was actually still pretty good at the time, so we would also bond a little bit over French when didn't really want people to know what we were talking about. So we would say a couple words in French. But oh yeah, yeah. But him and I ended up getting a taxi to our host family, and that's when the next major culture shock hit right off of day one. So we actually pull up to the house, and that's when I saw that the locks on the door were completely different. They don't have the typical skinny keys that the US does. So in the US, we typically have keys like this, super skinny and everything, you know? In Germany, the keys were much fatter. And so I had a difficult time sometimes making sure I wasn't too far back or too far to the front. You have to do it just right in order to turn it and everything. The keys were also just massive. I will put a picture up here for you guys. I was just like, oh my God, what's going on with my key? I can't get in. Like, what's going on? It was just like rocket science to me at that point. Luckily, our host family was there, and he came down. He was like, oh, you're actually doing it wrong. So that was when I found out you can't put it all the way in, but you can't take it all the way out. It has to be right in the thing, and then you turn it and unlock it and everything. And he was like, well, since I'm here, let me give you a tour of the house. And that's when all of these things were just like, whoa, this is so different. So the refrigerators in Germany are tiny, absolutely tiny. Like, obviously, I'm American. We have huge refrigerators, you know, but at least you can fit stuff in it. This refrigerator was so tiny, and we had to split it between 3 people. So each of us had our own individual shelf. So there was no room for like drinks or anything. So you were drinking a lot of room temperature drinks. And I'm like, well, I want my beer cold, and I also want my sodas and stuff cold and everything. But you know what? There was no room in the fridge for it. So it is what it is. The washing machines are also tiny. The US, they're huge. Granted, half the time I don't have to wash a lot of clothes. But when you're a family and you have to wash clothes, you want a bigger washing machine. I didn't really find it reasonable that these washing machines were so small for families. And since this was my host family, there were 3 of them living upstairs. It was 3 of us downstairs, and we had to share that washing machine. And I'm like, what in the world? This thing is tiny. No one uses a dryer. And mind you, this is still on the house tour he's giving us. He's like, oh yeah, we don't have a dryer. We actually just hang up our clothes. And I know in the US, we used to hang up our clothes, but dryers were invented. So that way we could have drier clothes faster, you know? But this way you had to plan your way around it because your clothes needed at least a day or 2 in order to get dry. And I'm like, okay, but I wanted to wear this and stuff. And it's like, well, too bad, you got to find something else to wear. Even the bathroom was different. In Germany, the bathtubs are absolutely huge. Like right now I'm at my island and I feel like the bathtub was actually this high. You have to like jump in order to get in and everything. I'm just like, what is going on? And what's even worse about it, well, I can't really say worse, but there's no shower curtains. So you have to make sure that no water is getting onto the floor. And what he also told us is that you have to keep the window open while you're in the shower. So I'm like, one, I don't have a shower curtain. Two, you want me to open a window so everyone can see me in the back, you know? This is the back of people's houses. I saw people out in their gardens, like drinking beers and everything, or just sitting, reading a book. And I'm like, I'm taking a shower with no shower curtain and I have to open a window. Why? Little did I know, I found out the hard way a couple years later when I had my own place and I didn't open the window while I was showering all the time and I started getting mold in my bathroom. I'm like, oh, this is why you kind of need to open that bathroom window. In the US, you don't need that because a lot of the bathrooms don't have windows, but they have vents. So everything is getting aired out and everything and whatnot, and that's something that I just was not used to right off the bat. Also, there's no AC in Germany. This isn't a huge deal or a deal breaker or anything, but like I said, it was hot when I arrived. And so you have to keep that window open. And it was just like, okay, yeah, you wanted to sleep with it open, and I didn't have a fan because I just arrived and everything, and I'm like, yo, I am burning up. But the houses are also made a little bit differently. They're typically made out of stone or something, so that way the inside is a little bit cooler. But still, I was hot. I'm like, I need AC, come on. One thing I also didn't know was I actually blew the fuse as well. I plugged in my extension cord and all of a sudden it was like, poof. So my extension cord was fried and then all the power went out in the bottom floor. Mainly because the voltage is different. The voltage in the US is 120, while over there it's around 240. So I completely blew the fuse and I felt so bad, but it ended up being okay. I was so afraid that I did something wrong or that the power is out and they would have to make me pay for it. And I was just like, the power went out. I don't know what to do. I don't know. And mind you, everything is being told to me in German. And like I said, I know German, but I was just so tired and everything. Luckily, Gabe was able to help me out a lot. His German was much better than mine at that time. And so he was able to translate everything as well. And we're just speaking English. And I was just like, thank God. This is too much for me right when landing in Germany. After that, our host was like, okay, I'm going to go take you guys food shopping now. Because we had no food. So we had to go food shopping in order to eat, right? And so I figured, okay, we're about to hop into his car and then head on to the grocery store. We ended up walking to the grocery store, which was about a 10-15 minute walk away. And I know, that's not a far walk. But like I said, sleep deprived, tired, thirsty, still have not had any water at all yet. So I'm just over it. So I'm just like, oh, this is a far walk. Like, I was just complaining and just like, oh my God, I just want to be in bed. But I needed food in order to eat. So I was like, yeah, okay, food shopping it is. So that leads into grocery stores. So the grocery stores were much, much smaller. I believe we went to a Reva, which is a smaller grocery store chain. And so they're also known for being super compact. Why? Because they have less brands and everything, and they don't overpopulate there. Like, I felt like I was at a corner store, but you could buy anything that you want there. What I also didn't know was you could buy liquor at the grocery store here. Not every state in the US has hard alcohol. You can buy beer and wine at these grocery stores, I believe in every state, but you can't buy your vodka, your rum, your tequila, so on and so forth. Whereas here you could. And what actually also blew my mind was the €4 of vodka at this grocery store. I was like, €4 for vodka? What? That is so cheap. I quickly grabbed that bottle. I stopped drinking that type of vodka after a month because one night I put it in my freezer and it did freeze and I'm like, But yeah, That's a different topic for a different day. But what I also didn't realize was that food itself in Germany is super cheap. I'm so used to going grocery shopping in the US and paying a good $100 for food and groceries. Even today when I went grocery shopping, I just bought minimal amount of stuff, I believe 6 items, and I paid $37, which is crazy. Whereas here, I bought food for at least 1 week and I paid like 40 euros. I wasn't really expecting to pay $100. Absolutely insane. I'm like, oh, I could get used to this. Something that also hit me right off the bat was actually having to pay for those grocery bags. I'm like, oh, grocery bags are more money? Like, why? I'm so used to them being free. But they're more sustainable in Germany, and they're reusable bags. They don't really use those plastic bags, so that's something that was really different for me. But what also shocked me, I think the most shocking thing the most, was that the price you see is the price you pay. Tax is included in the price when you are at the grocery store. And not just the grocery store, but at restaurants. Everywhere where you actually see the price, that's the price you're gonna pay. There's typically no money on top of that. So after all of this, we finally managed to get home and everything. I believe Gabe, my roommate, was like, hey, let's go out and see the city and whatnot. I want to venture out before we have to start our classes tomorrow. And I'm like, you know what, mate? I am tired. I'm exhausted. I'm just going to go to sleep right now. And I slept so hard. Listen, moving to a new country is absolutely difficult, and it is one of the most scary and hard things that you will ever do. Click the video right here if you want to see 21 things that I wish I had known before moving to Germany, and this one right here if you want to know 5 things that I absolutely love about this country. Your experiences may be different than mine, but they may also be similar. And yeah, see you in the next video.